The mom of five who was in the streets by her fiance just weeks before her wedding. Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
This is a horrible story, and children are now left to suffer. We're told at least 4 kids were inside this home around 2:30 this morning when the victim and suspect ran out of the house. Police then tell us the woman ended up around the corner on that main road, and that's when detectives tell us her fiance and her.
Wow.
Firefighters return in the daylight hours to wash the street, but neighbors say the stain of this is permanent.
Hey, look at me. Did you follow me on Instagram yet?
Nope.
If you did not, then you need to follow me on Instagram. Come on over to Instagram. Why haven't you followed me on Instagram yet? It's on the screen right now. It's pinned below in the comments, and it's in the description. So it's no way you can miss it. Come on over, man.
In October 2021, Dina Taylor penned a beautiful tribute to her fiancé on her Facebook page. It was only a few weeks to their wedding, and she gushed about how he was sweet, kind, gentle, and loving. Her Facebook account was filled with loving messages towards him, where she would write about how she never imagined she would ever meet someone like him, and that to marry him was a dream she never thought she'd see come true, and she never did. What was supposed to be a beautiful celebration of 2 people who loved each other very much turned into a chilling tale of horror when Dina's loving and gentle fiancé, Deontay Sims, chased her onto the street of their home, pulled a firearm on her, fired at her at point-blank range, and left her fighting for her life out on the street. By the time help got to her, it was too late. She was gone, her life taken by her sweet and kind fiancé. What led Deontay Sims to chase Dina out onto the street in a fit of rage? And why did it take so long for help to get to Dina?
Right.
Let's find out in the story of Dina Taylor, the mom of 5 who was killed in the street by her fiancé a few weeks before her wedding.
I told my husband, I said, I said, Stuart, there's a body out there.
Oh.
And my heart, you know, goes out. Our young people, it's just so much.
39-year-old Dina Taylor was a nurse who was passionate about helping people, according to her friends and family. She had studied practical nursing at Prism Career Institute and became an LPN charge nurse. Dina was described as a kind and gentle soul who kind to everyone and always wanted to help people. She was the kind of person who naturally brightened the lives of the people who encounter her with her bright smile and wonderful personality. Dina
I was honestly just about to say that, man. She has a beautiful smile. Like, man, mugs be knowing that these women be beautiful. They be like, I don't want nobody else to have it, because they know it ain't nothing for them to find them a man that probably not as valuable, but, you know, to find them a man in general, but it hurt their ego, bro. And they just know like they'd just rather take their life than to see them happy elsewhere. Sad, bro.
Dina was also a hopeless romantic. Though the relationships she'd been in the past had turned out to be the wrong one for her, those relationships had taken from her and drained her. Dina always gave her all to a relationship and showered her partners with love and care, but she never seemed to get the same in return. Instead, she was often disrespected, not valued, and treated very badly, which made her choose to remain single at some point. On August 5th, 2020, Dina announced her decision to be single on Facebook, saying as much as she would love to be in love, she was not going to settle or compromise on her standards. On August 5th, 2020, Dina posted, "As much as I would love to be in love and to be building with my significant other, I'm single 100% by choice, because I desire and require to be respected and treated like a queen. I know what I bring to the table emotionally, physically, and financially. I will not settle or compromise my standards to fit into a box that's too small. Nope. Funny thing is, at this very moment, I have a few open offers, but what is for me, I won't have to question. Come correct or don't come at all," Dina wrote. It seemed Dina had locked in on the realization that if the relationships didn't serve her, there was no point in getting into them. She had described the kind of relationship she wanted and how she wanted to be treated in the relationship. Well, it seemed someone was listening, because on November 1st, 2020, Dina updated her Facebook status to "in a relationship," but it seemed not long after getting into the relationship, there was trouble in paradise. Dina began to leave cryptic messages on Facebook about the state of mind and the state of her relationship. On December 6th, 2020, roughly 1 month after changing her Facebook status, she posted this: "I feel disconnected, overworked, and sleep deprived." But that wasn't all. The very next day, she posted responded what looked like a breakup message. Relationships sometimes fail because we look for perfect instead of looking for worth it. My learning and growth has been major. She added the hashtag relationship lessons to the post. Now, while she never confirmed whether she had broken up with her boyfriend or not, but whatever it was didn't seem to last because by May of 2021, she made her first post with her boyfriend.
That's actually true though, man. Like y'all got to be willing to fight. A lot of y'all don't know if y'all relationship is worth it. Y'all listen to other people, man. If you know that your partner is worth it, then be with that person. They might not be perfect. They might not have it all together. You know what I'm saying? But if you know there's things that could work on and something that you know you can put up with for the rest of your life, well, just go for it, man. Because in all honesty, like you're never finna just always feel butterflies and have that honeymoon phase if y'all married and into the relationship for years. Just at times you're gonna look at this person and despise it. Like, I do not like you. You're gonna feel like that most likely. But you know, like I don't like you right now, but I love you. And one thing I can never do is let this fail. Like you might not be perfect, but I know you worth the headache, you worth the arguments, you worth the ups and downs, you worth the mood swings. You get what I'm saying? Like somebody that's worth it is totally different than somebody that's perfect, man. A lot of people in this generation, y'all be listening to this music, bro, and just be worrying about who worth it. I mean, not worth it, who perfect. Oh, I need a person who go do a man that do this, a man that do this, man. A lot of them, man, they probably don't even know how to clean this behind. Doodle crumbs. You rather put up with that? You know what I'm saying? Like nobody is perfect on this earth, man. Y'all just got to find who y'all willing to put up with. And if you feel like social media is making you feel that there's somebody out here that's perfect, then you gonna have a rude awakening. That's probably why you're still single. You know, nobody telling you to settle, but just definitely find you somebody that's worth it, man. For real. It'll go a long way.
Posted a photo of her and him in all white on Facebook. It was the first time she was posting his picture, and it looked like it was to celebrate their engagement as she added a date, 08/27/2022, with an engagement ring emoji. On 2nd July 2021, Dina again took to Facebook to gush about her upcoming wedding, providing updates on how far she had gone in planning for it. 13 months until my wedding, and I don't know where to start, how to start, what to wear, how to look. At least one of the biggest stressors is handled. The venue is paid in full and locked in, so there will be a wedding 8/27/22. LOL, hopefully I'll have a dress though, LOL. 4 days later, she made another post, this time gushing about her fiancé, Deontay Sims. Dina believed her meeting him was fate. She described him as her knight in shining armor and her best friend. The heavens sent me my sweet knight in shining armor, my best friend, my fiancé, and we're getting married next year. He handles me with care, like fine china. Love isn't complicated. And that wasn't all. Dina made many posts about Deontay. She couldn't wait to be married to who she described as the most kind, gentle, dedicated, and loving man she ever met. Only in my dreams did I ever think that I'd be getting married in a beautiful mansion to the most kind, gentle, dedicated, and loving man that I would ever meet. When they say dreams come true, please believe them. To everyone who saw her post, Dina was so happy and excited to be marrying the man of her dreams. But unfortunately, the reality was not as rosy as she painted it out to be, because only 6 days after she made her last post, celebrating her fiancé, she was dead. On September 15th, 2021, residents of Cecily Court in Upper Marlboro witnessed a shocking argument between Dina Taylor and her fiancé, Deontay Sims.
Bro, got on one knee and 6 days later took her life. Bro, that's scary, bro. That made me, I don't even know who to trust nowadays. That's scary. Because, man, what was going on through this dude's head, bro? What was going on through this dude's head, bro? How do y'all feel about marriage, man? Let me ask y'all that. How do y'all feel? Comment down below. Is marriage a mandatory for y'all? Because I'm just looking at everything going on in the world, man. Like, how do y'all feel? What's y'all outlook on marriage?
Part of the argument had been had outside and was loud enough for everyone in the neighborhood to feel the tension. This argument had lasted well into the early hours of the morning. It was very heated, and neither of them seemed to be backing down. Though it's still unclear what led to their argument, at around 2:30 a.m. in the morning of September 16th, Dina ran out into the street. Immediately after, Deontay ran after her.
This is a horrible story, and children are now left to suffer. We're told at least 4 kids were inside this home around 2:30 this morning when the victim and suspect ran out of the house.
But unfortunately for her, she didn't get very far before Deontay caught up to her, fired at her, and left her dying on the road.
Police then tell us the woman ended up around the corner on that main road, and that's when detectives tell us her fiance and her.
What looked to be a beautiful, healthy relationship, the stuff of dreams turned into a nightmare in one night. Because it happened in the middle of the night, the neighborhood was asleep, but a few neighbors were awoken by loud bangs.
I told my husband, I said, those are gunshots. I said, Stuart, there's a body out there. And my heart, goes out. Our young people, it's just so much.
Her children were inside the house the entire time Dina and Deontay arguing. The last time they saw their mom was when she ran out of the house with Deontay in pursuit. When they heard the bangs and Deontay came back in alone, one of Dina's children called family members who thankfully got there as fast as possible and got the kids out of the house. Deontay then proceeded to barricade himself inside the house.
We're told her son called for help. Family members arrived, got all the kids out of the house and to safety before the suspect barricaded himself inside.
Once the authorities got there, they quickly attended to Dina, who was still laying on the floor when Deontay had left her. But unfortunately, it was too late. She was not breathing and was pronounced deceased on the scene.
We were able to get to her pretty quick with some armored vehicles and the officers on the scene, but it was very apparent immediately.
Bro, I be feeling like this don't be people first time, bro. When you that cold with it, bro, just walk away and just like, nothing, bro, that ain't their first time, bro. That's just their first time getting caught.
She was deceased.
Once they transported Dina to the morgue, they focused their full attention on getting Deontay out of that house in a way that could not cause any damage to him or anyone else. But it was not easy. Deontay was not coming out, and when officers tried to go in, he fired at them twice. According to a press release by the Upper Marlboro Police Department, once they assessed the situation with Deontay, they then deployed the appropriate team to negotiate with him to try to get him to surrender himself.
This morning at approximately 2:20 a.m., our officers responded to the 12400 block of Cicely Court for the report of a shooting. Once on scene, our officers located an adult female short distance away from that location in the roadway suffering from wounds. She has since been pronounced dead on the scene. As our officers went to investigate at the original location of incident, they determined that an armed individual was inside of a home.
They brought in officers trained in negotiations to speak to Deontay. They also brought in emergency services just in case the situation escalated.
Out of an abundance of caution, we declared a barricade. Our conflict negotiators and our emergency services team responded to the location.
After 5 hours of negotiation, trying out different tactics to try to get Deontay to turn himself in, he finally came out of his home and surrendered to the arrest.
Through the course of their negotiations, our suspect in this case has successfully surrendered and has been taken into custody.
Bro, I don't be understanding what be up with the negotiations. It's no negotiation, bro. Come out. Like it's up for you, bro. Like at the end of the day, you either go be unalived right here or you go get unalived in prison. Like it ain't no seeing it. It's no negotiation. Could you at least give me only 5 years? No. You get what I'm saying? Like ain't nothing to negotiate about. If I would, I'm gonna be honest, if that would have been my family member, it's nothing to talk about. Like it's up, bro. For real.
Police say an armed man inside this home on Cicely Court in Upper Marlboro finally surrendered nearly 5 hours after they say he shot his fiancée about a block away.
At this point, Dina Taylor was gone, so the case immediately became a homicide. And the first thing investigators assigned to the case did was to try to ascertain a timeline of events. What happened on the night of September 15th that led to that explosive argument? And was Deontay a volatile person who lost his temper often, or was this out of the blue?
The woman was found in the street. She'd been and was declared dead at the scene.
After taking Deontay into custody, investigators stayed back to hose the street, clearing it of any signs of the tragic events that took place just a few hours before. But no matter how thoroughly they hosed the street, the neighbors would never forget the sounds they heard or the sight of Dina laying on the ground, not moving. From the neighbors, investigators were able to learn a lot more about Dina and Deontay's relationship, but most importantly, about Deontay himself. They were curious to know who he was and what led him to take the steps he took. A neighbor neighbor who had always lived next door to Deontay had so much to say about him. She had known him since he was a child, since his parents owned the home he lived in. According to the neighbor, Deontay had grown up playing with her kids.
Doris Benson devastated after learning the suspect grew up with her own children. Their families, longtime neighbors.
His parents are wonderful people.
Right.
They really are.
It was a shock to her that the sweet boy she watched grow up would do something so dark and sinister.
Still love him. I hate that it came to that. I don't know why it came to that. But they're just nice people.
Other neighbors didn't know Deontay and Dina so well, but they did confirm that their neighborhood was usually quiet, and nothing like that had ever happened before.
And it's normally quiet. We don't hear stuff like this. And to her that happened is kind of
damaging.
For me, it's kind of not terrifying, but it's just like really sad.
Through their neighbors, officers also discovered a lot about the relationship Dina and Deontay had and how their children fit into that.
Police confirmed the suspect and victim were engaged to get married and both had children from previous relationships.
Currently, our homicide detectives and our crime scene investigators are on scene working to determine the events leading up to this morning.
What do we know about those events so far that you can say preliminarily about the events that led up to this?
Preliminarily, we do believe that this is a domestic-related homicide, and it's still early on in the investigation, so that's the most I can say at this time.
Right.
The officer also answered a few questions from the media during the press briefing. He answered questions about how Dina ended up on the street, saying they were still putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
And how did the woman end up on the street?
That we're still looking to figure out exactly what transpired prior to that 911 call coming in this morning.
During the press briefing, the officer also said while they knew it was a DV-related tragic event, they didn't know if this was a pattern of behavior that could have been reported by Dina or if Deontay just snapped.
Have you been here before?
That's still part of the investigation. We will do an address search. Unfortunately, I don't have that information available to me this early.
Most of the time, bro, it was a constant thing. It just, yeah, I get it.
Early on.
As far as the relationship between the two, what can you say about what the man and woman's relationship is?
That I can't confirm right now. We want to make sure that we interview all involved parties to confirm that, but I can't say it is being investigated as domestic related at this time.
They also answered questions about where the call to 911 had been made from, if it had been made from inside the house or away from the house.
Did the 911 call come in from the residence where this incident happened or from somewhere else?
Preliminarily, I do believe it came from the residence.
Perhaps from the victim?
I'm not exactly sure who the caller was.
Are you releasing his name? And I assume he's been arrested and then went forward.
So typically, right now he is in custody, pending the charges. We do, as standard in any homicide investigation, we do try to talk to our victims and our suspects in this case.
What kind of weapons did this suspect have access to in the home?
That is still under investigation. I'm not exactly sure what was used. I can say that we do know there was some type of firearm used this morning,
Though at this point, investigators had a pretty good idea of what transpired. They still needed to speak to Deontay to confirm some information before filing charges.
Once we talk to the suspect, our detectives will determine the appropriate charges and apply for those with the court commissioner, and then we'll release that information later on in a news release.
The officer also revealed that emergency services had gotten there as fast as they could, but they were not allowed to get to Dina, as Deontay had cut off their access to her. It was possible that had they attended to her the moment they got to the scene, she could have survived the ordeal and lived to tell her story. But unfortunately, that did not happen.
And it was enough that first responders weren't able to get to the victim?
Yes, ma'am. Out of caution, with the active fluid scene, it was determined at that time that it wasn't safe to move directly, and based on the information we had available to us at that time.
It's been really tough to know someone that needed you and not be able to get there.
Absolutely. It's hard to that it wasn't safe to move.
Hold on.
Yes, ma'am.
The ordeal, and they were not allowed to get to Dina, as Deontay had cut off their access to her. It was possible that had they attended to her the moment they got to the scene, she could have survived the ordeal and lived to tell her story. But unfortunately, that did not happen.
And it was enough that first responders weren't able to get to the victim?
Yes, ma'am. Out of caution, with the active fluid scene, it was determined at that time that it wasn't safe to move directly, and based on the information we had available to us at that time.
To know someone that needed you and not be able to get there.
Absolutely. It's hard to to deal with, but we have to take everyone's safety, the community, even the suspect in this case, safety into consideration.
The officer laid out their course of action when they got to the scene, saying officers led the way to clear the scene before allowing emergency services to go to Dina.
Right.
So typically in incidents like this, when it comes out, the fire department along with the police department are co-dispatch. The way it works is the police department will go in first to ensure the scene is safe for our co-responders at the fire department.
But because
Nah, I'm gonna be honest, bro. If I would have been a cop, I don't know. I guess that's what training is for. Cause I feel like I would have did something different. I would have went to her. If he trying to do, we finna book. We finna, you know what I'm saying? We finna shoot out.
it took a long time to get past Deontay's barricade, they could not reach in time to save her life.
This morning, unfortunately, it took some time to stabilize the scene to ensure that it was safe for those first responders to come in. Once that was, of course, they came in, but unfortunately, our victim was pronounced deceased this morning. Yeah, we're going to exhaust every option. We want peaceful resolutions in these type of situations. We don't want to be quick to just jump in to action to get the incident resolved. So this morning just demonstrates our ability to hold fast and try to resolve a peaceful resolution to bring someone into custody, and that's what our negotiators did this morning.
Just this afternoon, we learned the suspect, his fiance, and it may have happened in front of children inside that home. Police say the two each have children, but none that they share.
After the officers cleared off Cecile Court, the real investigation began as investigators spoke to friends, family, co-workers, and neighbors of Deontay and Dina just to establish a timeline of events.
Investigators are trying to piece together what happened inside the home that led to the shooting as they gather evidence and interview witnesses.
Their main aim was to establish whether or not Deontay Sims was a man who had been putting his fiancée through hell in private, or if he really was the Mr. Nice Guy everyone seemed to portray him as.
Domestic violence is always an issue, and it's always something that we're trying to, provide services for. With the pandemic, obviously, that's probably compounded.
When speaking to the people who knew him, investigators could not make sense of why Deontay did what he did.
Right.
Everyone who knew him only had good things to say about him, that coupled with Dina's Facebook posts painted a picture of a perfect gentleman.
We are learning more about the man accused of fiancé in Upper Marlboro. Deontay Sims is charged with 39-year-old Dina Taylor.
But perfect gentlemen don't chase the woman they claim to love, the woman they were planning to get married to in a few short weeks, down the street with a firearm. Everything they learned about Deontay wasn't adding up with his chilling actions on the morning of September 16th. But the only person who could provide clarity in the case, Dina, was gone. She was the only one who could tell everyone if Deontay's Mr. Nice Guy had been an act of if he truly had been a gentleman, but she was gone. While at the police station, Deontay Sims confessed that he had fired at Dina and tried to fire at two other officers.
According to investigators, Sims admitted to Taylor and firing at two police officers. They were not hit.
With a clean confession and corroboration by Dina's kids who were there that night, Deontay Sims was charged with the murder of his fiancée, Dina Taylor. Deontay was charged with common law, attempted first and second degree use of a firearm in the commission of a crime of violence, along with other illegal gun-related charges, and 2 enhancements for committing a crime of violence in the presence of a minor.
We extend our condolences to the family on the victim that we lost this morning.
The state's attorney released a statement of condolence to Dina's family. My heart goes out to the family and loved ones of Ms. Taylor. What happened to this beautiful young woman was very sad and tragic. My job is to seek justice for her and her loved ones, and that is exactly what my office will do on their behalf. Deontay pled guilty to all the charges in a bid to avoid a long and messy trial, and in exchange he received a plea deal. He was sentenced to 55 years in prison, and per his plea agreement, he will spend 5 years of probation upon release. He will also be required to enroll in a batterer's intervention program and undergo drug and alcohol abuse and mental health evaluations. According to
Man, it's so crazy because you would even know that this man can get out. Like, he's gonna be old. I don't know if they making him do the whole 100% or something like that, but it's crazy to know that they give people plea agreements on stuff like this that was obvious, man. You just took a mother away from her kids, bro. You either got to let the streets handle it. I mean, the everyday living, it really didn't look like they was in nothing like that anyway. But I know everybody got somebody crazy in their family. I know some of y'all can agree with that right now, that if something happened to you, you know that it's going to be somebody that's going to go crazy about you and your family. if somebody is still walking too. So, you know, justice system a lot of the times fails. Sometimes, I'm gonna be honest, they definitely do what they supposed to do. But in this situation, bro, this dude had too much going on for a 55-year plea. Too much.
To the state attorney, though he had taken responsibility for his actions, he still had to pay for it. Though Mr. Sims has taken responsibility for his deplorable actions, he will face severe consequences. What happened to this beautiful young woman was a tragedy, and her entire family remains devastated. Domestic violence is a major problem in our country, and I want everyone to know that we take these cases seriously, and we will do everything within our power to hold abusers accountable. 39-year-old Dina Taylor left behind 3 daughters and 2 sons. Her eldest daughter, who lives in Egg Harbor Township, started a GoFundMe page to help pay for her mom's funeral and raise her siblings. Hello everyone, my name is Yamina Triniwell. As most of you may know, my mother, Dina Taylor, lost her life due to domestic violence early Thursday morning. She left behind 5 children, as well as a community of family and friends. We are all mourning the loss of the amazing, beautiful, and gentle woman she was. Any donations will be given directly to the children to assist us during this time. Please continue to pray and support us during this challenging time. She also took to Facebook, an app that her mother loved, and used so much to share a heartfelt message about the loss of Dina Taylor. No words that I say can show anyone how much I love you. You are my heart, soul, diary, #1 supporter, my everything. I love you infinitely in this life and the next. Please watch over me and continue to guide me through this. I love you forever.
We definitely going to try to figure out what the GoFundMe is and link it down below in the chat, man. But prayers out to her children, man. It looked like she had a lot of children. And the coward, bro, took her life, man. That's just crazy, bro. Like, I don't know what be going on through people's head, man. But shout out to the oldest daughter for taking in her younger siblings, man. That's a big move. But prayers out to her family, man. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about this down below. And I'll see you all tomorrow, man.